This is Justin AMZN. On Monday, January 14th, 2019. Uh, this morning, I got a bit of a gap down. Uh, the last few days have been bullish candles, including Friday's candle, which was a penny bullish, but still bullish. And then today, seeing this gap down coming back down into the 1617 price and 1607 price pre-market, and then right before the market opened, seeing it kind of break down. Looked like 1617 was holding, and then it broke down within the last 5 minutes before the market opened. And so I was getting ready as the market opened to get into puts down here, right at the 1617 price, looking for that to hold as a high, and they actually got into the 1550 puts expiring Friday, for the price I'd like to get into, a nice round, 10, 10 by 9. And so as the market opened, I was watching this, seeing this price hold right here, or anticipating that holding. Got into puts, like I said, 10 by 9. That sold off very quickly, and the option made it down here to like 14 something, almost 15, and did not exit down there. Was looking for it to continue down. We've got these lines in here that are, there's a couple here. There's four of them in this range. What is it, 1591 and then 1578. So I was looking for a move down to kind of the bottom of that range, and understanding that it could retest some. That's what happened on the next candle. Came back up to 1607 and a little bit further, and ended up actually coming back all the way up to 1617. And right in here, anticipating this holding, I jumped into a meeting and left my stop at 9, so it was still 10 by 9. Right in here, could have bought again at 10 by 9, had I not gotten in right at the open, but left my target way down much further, and like I said, didn't move the stop, and then checked in a little while and saw that the market actually moved up from here. Got stopped out at 9, so I lost an R on that one, and was kind of, I guess, surprised. Well, happy I was stopped out, because the option just lost a lot of premium right through here as this retested, and it actually retested all the way up right into this line. It's like, wow, that this was kind of like a false rollover here, came all the way back to this line, the red one. And didn't really slow down, I guess, but not really at this one, the lowest one. Sort of rolled over here, and some people were probably getting embarrassed, but that, this sort of move was not, I mean, it wasn't much of a retest. Like this move, it's like, okay, we're looks like we're breaking out. This candle, has some volume on it. This one, it's like, okay, people think it's going to continue to rally from here. Like, they're the ones who missed this bullish move. They're getting here for the last little bit, and that's where it actually started to roll over. And I was still in a meeting. It was a few hours, so I missed the rollover, unfortunately. But it was, looking back at this, it was really nice to see, some of the lines drawn in here actually held. Like, this line actually worked, as a resistance, as it did a quick retest and then a secondary retest, kind of a third retest here, and then continued to roll over. Somehow we rolled all the way back down and closed at 1619.10, and actually closed bullish on the day. A very nice indecision candle, slightly bullish. Looking at the daily, we're bullish a little bit, actually. So we opened at 1615, we closed at 1617.21, so a couple dollars bullish. Um, but this is the first candle. Let's see. I was going to say this is the first candle that we didn't touch this downtrend line, but now I'm actually going to zoom in and see, did that actually happen? Okay, we actually kind of did that. Did we actually get into it? Looks like we actually got right into that line. And I know I got a lot of lines in right here. And I'm going to leave them on there for a little bit longer to see if that actually holds. But really nice bearish gap and go. Actually retested really, really nicely into that high. That's phenomenal. Okay, so let's see. This line is the downtrend line, but on the 5-minute with the extended hours, it doesn't look like we got into it. Looks like we only got into this red line. The red, this one is the one I didn't move from the one I drew the other day. And that's the one we actually touched. This is the one I was playing around with. What if it's a shallower angle, and then I matched it down here, and just trying to figure out what could really line up. And I know it seems really funny having so many lines in here. It's like, okay, which one's going to work? But seeing it come into this, like, I'm not saying to the penny, but I drew a line the other day that it still fit today on the 5-minute with extended hours. Like, how cool is that? So, this we actually retested a little bit further through on Friday, but we held that nicely today. Look at that. Let's see, the highs were 20 cents and 12 cents. So 8 cents, we were 8 cents away from a tweezer top. And that's where it rolled over, right at the line. I mean, that's an easy trade. So anticipating a rollover, not knowing exactly where it's going to happen. This definitely looks like rollover price. You're right at the middle of, these two lines right here. You're not at the apex way over here, not at the point, but you're at the pricing where it should roll over here. It really shouldn't blow past this easily. And that's where it started to roll over. So here's the calls. I was in the, puts. The 1550 put, I was in at 10 by 9. That rallied up to 1450. And then I saw it pull back here. And it's like, oh man, it's not just going to blow past this high. It's going to kind of retest. And, that's all right. I'm still in 10 by 9. I got my stop at a good spot. It's not like it blew through my stop or something and then continued up. It just didn't continue up. I think it was in my meeting at 9. So I saw this happen, and then I was getting ready for my meeting and didn't see this collapse back into, it looked like the 10 by 9 was going to hold, and then it didn't. And I didn't see this happen. So, but the rest of that, just lost the premium as the stock rallied, put in a nice low in here, about $5. And, you could have been trading this later. Maybe not, 6 by 5 or, somewhere here buying like 550 by 450. Like that could have worked by the end of the day, but probably would have been better to get into maybe the 1600 puts at that point. Let's see where this is. So that would have been tough. Like 13, not sure how well that would have worked. 13 by 12. So, I mean, it would have worked by the end of the day, but 13 wouldn't have filled over here. 1330, maybe 14 by 13. Once this all happened, then 14 by 13, that may have worked. But you're not getting in at the high of the day into puts. Let's see, that low was at 1050. What time was the high? Oops. That was 1050. So, if you didn't get in there, where would you have gotten in? Maybe here as it's starting to roll over again. maybe somewhere in one of these. So getting in on that candle, what was that, 1235? 1235, yeah. So probably somewhere over here. So getting into a retest, 14 by 13, that would have been a nice time to get in. It's starting to, you're clearly seeing it. It's broken down. You got a bit of a head and shoulders with a really shallow shoulder, a retest of the neckline here, secondary. So if you didn't get in on this one at 1145, let's see, 1145, 14, maybe you had it set up 14 by 13. Didn't get in on that 14 by 13, that didn't fill, but you still had it open. And so you're getting in at 1220 as that dropped a little bit. So 1220 was that one. There you go. Getting in on a retest, and especially if you had that line drawn in. Or match, if you're matching my lines, so it's a retest of a neckline, secondary retest from this one, and then, it wouldn't have been stopped out here, but, that probably would have been a good place. Because then, you're not calling the top. And that's the toughest thing. It's like, okay, yeah, seeing a tweezer would have been great to get in right there. But who calls the top, when it's forming like that, especially if we were trying to call the top here and then stopped out, like I wasn't trying to add to my position 10 by 9. I was just trusting, okay, this should hold. And if it doesn't, I'm going to get stopped out. I wasn't adding and, putting in more risk. I was just letting it play out, and it didn't roll over right here. But again, right here, really nice indecision candle right on the 1617 price, indecision candle. Okay, I've played it. I've played my setup. If it rolls over, great, it's working. If it doesn't, which it didn't, I lost. That's okay. It's going to happen. So, getting in way over here after it's put in a top, after it's broken, kind of this neckline. If you call this a double top, if you call it a head and shoulders, it's showing more bearishness here. You've got 25 minutes of selling. That's different than you'd had all day. Something has changed by the time it gets over here from the time it was right here, and so you're waiting that out, and that is totally okay to wait for, wait for the setup you want. And so, anticipating this is going to roll over, we got a long way to go back down. We rallied, but we didn't rally into one of our horizontal lines like 1665. We rallied into some of these downtrends. This one in particular, the downtrend line. So getting in right here at 14, to stop at 13, holding that back into the 1617 price totally worked today. And the option was somewhere around probably 19, 18, 19, somewhere in there. Let's say 19. So you're in 14 by 13, holding it to 19, and that's 5R. And unfortunately, that's almost what I had this morning. Had I just exited at 14, I would have had 4R up here with the 1550 puts, getting in at 10 by 9 and getting out at 14 would have had 4R there. That didn't happen. And then I wasn't watching it to reverse my position. So here's the 1700 calls, and I picked 1700 because of the range here. So this, flash down. I'm not saying you would have gotten in here. I'm saying as this thing broke, you could have been getting in 5. Let's see. 5 broke out. So getting in 550. What's the low here? That would have been tight. 550 by 450, or maybe 6 by 5. Probably 6 by 5. Taking the breakout there. 6 by 5. Getting in on this, probably this candle. 6 by 5, and then you're holding. You're only going to get 2R of that because you're at the 1700 call. You're a little ways away. But 6 by 5 would have made 2R. I would have gotten R back. Maybe held till it got up to 9. So that would have been 3R. If we look at, the 1650, that would have been a lot harder to have that risk, because that breakout here, you would have been guessing at 19 by 18, and that just would have been, the size of these candles are, they're they're $2 range on these candles. So this one is $1, but it's unlikely we would have played that one. And then, just the range, that was $1. And then the 1675 probably had some lower volume. Let's see what this was at. Yeah, so as that broke out, you're clearing the highs here. Maybe this 10 by 9, that could have worked. On a Monday, the 1675, though, much lower volume than the 1650 and the 1700. So possibly here, 10 by 9. I like the level that this is at, 10 by 9. And then holding that till it got up to like 16. So that would have been 6R. So again, would have gotten that R back that I lost. But I was in meetings, so I missed that. But the strength of this move here, this is a clear break of pre-market indecision here. It's like it's clearly going bullish, getting in on this pullback, right back into that level. Look at that, right back into the pre-market high with that low right there. So it's possible to have had that set up as this candle's breaking out, or after it breaks out. And it's like, okay, if it fills, great. Otherwise, I'm not going to chase it, but I'm going to get out when it gets up into these lines up here. It shows a clear sign of reaching kind of a reaching an exhaustion point, and then look to go bearish. And so you could have been actually holding probably to the indecision candles here, because it didn't really get indecisive. There wasn't a clear high wave candle until this one. And then some of these smaller candles, you get the squeeze that formed here, and then it just paused, petered out, and then another squeeze forming here, and could have gotten in bearish anywhere in here and got another R or 2R on its way down here. So watching the squeeze, watching these levels, there was more opportunities to to play this bullish than bearish after losing on the initial setup. So I just wasn't paying attention to it as much today as I would have liked to, and lost out on some gains, but limited my downside to an R. So that's what happened for me today. And that's about all I got for this video, other than taking a little bit of a zoom out and seeing where we could go next. So again, we had another bullish candle, but high wave candle. And if we stay below this line, or come back up into it, we've touched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. We can totally come back up into it another time and touch it again tomorrow and stay under it. Then, that's kind of what I'm anticipating. And from there, if we do get back up into it one more day, then to see more of a rollover. Today was a very bearish gap. It just didn't play out as a bearish gap. It didn't have that force to move down. So it's it's still looking like a much bigger pennant here. But I'm still looking for this kind of what happened here, this kind of a rollover that came after it. I'm still looking for that, to pull back some more. We almost came into the 21 exponential today, and we're staying above that. But that's right at the bottom range in this. So that was the other line I mentioned, the 1578. I expected to get back down into that line today, and we didn't. So I'd still like to see us get back down there. If we can touch probably price mat, if we can get back up to 1643 or so, and then go down to 1578 tomorrow, that'd be a really nice bearish move. Just depends on where we open, if it's a bearish candle. And really see, are we going to hold this level, or are we going to continue lower some more? So we've, we've technically retested almost, what was the high here? 1594 was that high. We got into 1599 today. And what was that low? 1595. So we technically retested this gap right here today, and that was the last retest gap. So this was a retest gap. We closed that one the same day. We basically almost closed this gap from this day to this day by this move today. This was a bullish gap and go. It doesn't have to retest that level, and then we had retested this price for these two. We've closed, or not closed. We retested. We've paused from this bullish gap. So we totally, just based on it being a retest gap, we could totally just launch higher from here. And that means not pausing at the downtrend. So if we can get some momentum going higher, or some moves going higher, we've got the momentum on the squeeze, or on the TTM squeeze. It's not a squeeze, but I mean, we've got some bullish momentum still going. This is a nice rest after this kind of a move, and it's retested. It's almost retested the full range. So really, the next couple of days are gonna tell us which way we're going here. We should not be range bound in here too much longer, especially if the downtrend line continues down and the 21 continues up and puts us into a bit of a triangle here. But we're below the triangle I anticipated us holding. I thought we had one more day of that, and today we actually gapped down out of it. So I'm anticipating a little bit more of a pullback, and that's just what we've done. We've had some of these V tops. So one here, two here. We have a third here. We actually had one. We've had a lot of V tops off of this level. One, a second one here, third one that pushed through it. 4, 5, 6. Could we have a seventh one? Really, this is the 1, 2, 3 off of this level. If that continues down a little more sharply, so it suggests that we could just continue to V top, but it doesn't have to. So that means watching on the smaller time frames. That means watching for some values to hold, and if they do, great. If they don't, okay, make a different plan to do that, to play it that way. So we'll see where it goes tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.